Hi, and welcome to another edition of Behind the Apps. I'm Ryan Ritchie, and today we've got two developers. I think it's interesting because I really think they highlight different aspects, different ends of the app spectrum. I've got Jonathan Chang. He's the developer of PopPopPop. Hello, Jonathan.
Hello, Ryan.
And I also have Sam Feuer. Sam is the CEO of MindSmack, the company responsible for Fastmall.
We just launched version 2.0, which is sort of the landmark launch that we're going public with.
Very cool. Now I want to talk about that because Jonathan, your app, which launched what in August, July or August?
Yeah, at the end of August.
Okay, so that was a 1.0 app, and you just had a point release to 1.1, and you
hmm
added some online features with that.
Yeah.
Um, what have you seen in terms of? I mean, that's a fairly minor add-on to the app. What have
hmm
you seen in terms of new sales or new interest in the app with that update?
I think it spurred sales a little to I think because people got into playing and seeing. I mean, I saw people trying to shoot up one person would see somebody's high score and then the next day you'd see someone else who had been previously below. They would try to go for another high one. I think it kind of spurred a bit of the hype, I guess, of playing the game, and so yeah, I mean, it helped sales, it boosted sales a bit because I think people started, telling their friends, sharing it a bit more than before.
Very cool. Now, Sam, with Fastmall 2.0, I think it's an interesting study in getting usable feedback from your first customers, I would assume,
Sure.
and also, really making it a 2.0 app. Why don't you tell folks a little bit about the basis of the app and then what you've done with 2.0?
Sure, absolutely. Well, when we first started about a year ago, there was no such thing as an in-app purchase, and Apple came out with that, and we thought it was a really cool method of showcasing and getting the word out, but not just a free app, because the app itself, Fastball, I mean, there's a lot of mall applications, and most of them are pretty awful in their own right, or just very simple, and they're worth free. They're worth 99 cents maybe. But what we've created is it's been sort of a very lengthy process, especially with the lack of GPS, or I should say the issues that we've had with GPS when we first built the app. And in doing so, the app failed miserably when we used GPS. So what we did is we went back to the drawing board and we built the app without using GPS as far as the mapping technology goes. And that's something that's been fascinating, and the ability for people to recalculate their trip by using the elevators only is a fascinating thing for people who have are in strollers, walking baby strollers, around the mall, like my wife, for example, which is one of the reasons why we built the app in the first place, as well as if you're in a wheelchair. Actually, the Muscular Dystrophy Association just wrote an article today on their website um, about using the app and how it can work, and be a true benefit and asset to anyone in a wheelchair. And that's a touching and a helpful way for us to keep building for not only for malls but for hospitals, for hotels, for theme parks, anywhere that needs mapping indoors, or it could even be outdoors. We do have Rodeo Drive done with this technology as well. So it can go. It's a limitless platform, and we've seen that it's quite fascinating to see the results of and feedback that we've gotten without really advertising that much.
Just ballpark for us, Sam. How many man hours you think went into making this app?
Wow, that's interesting. Well, it's basically been about 10 months of work. We've had probably 4 or 5 people working full time on that. We didn't start with any data. Like, we basically had no data. We didn't work with any malls to start, which has also been a fascinating reaction from malls. They can't believe that we've created these maps that are, the best other map application out there still stole a JPEG, from a mall website, and they basically drop a static pin on it, and that's it. So what we've done is we've actually customized this whole experience because I have MindSmack as a design agency.
Jonathan, when you started PopPopPop, what was your goal with that app?
I mean, honestly, I just actually it was my second semester of senior year of high school, and so I mean I had a little extra free time on my hands, and I picked up iPhone programming after. I mean I've done other programming, but I picked up iPhone programming, and a couple of actually one of my friends wanted me to make a game, and so we sat through game ideas and came up with that one. And so I mean I spent just a couple months during summer, actually this past summer, making it.
Are you bit by the app bug now? Do you think you'll go back and make more apps?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I've done a few side apps for myself personally. Last semester for one of my classes, I made a little flashcard app for myself, so I wouldn't have to carry around, a stack. So when I'm at the bus stop, I can quickly review some terms, or just little things like that were helpful for myself. But I mean,
sure.
I didn't go out to start a new startup or anything, but it was a nice little side project for fun.
And what was your level of programming experience before this?
I mean, I've taken computer science classes in high school, but mostly it was just C programming and Java programming. And I picked up I watched the Stanford class that they put up on iTunes U, and did the assignments for that. And but yeah, I mean, it was once you have a solid foundation, I guess in another language, it's easy. It's far more easier to pick up. I'm pretty sure Sam would agree. If he's done.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, in my case, it's a little bit different because I have developers that work directly for me. I do know a good amount about a lot of things. Objective-C is not one of them as far as developing, but I do have several developers that do that, and they're extremely talented guys. It's an amazing language to learn and to work with, and it's fascinating. And we're also we're building for the iPad now, which is the next thing that we'll be getting into, and building some Minority Report crazy functionality stuff that we're secretly but not too secretly working about. There's so many things that we could do. We're so fascinated with the iPad. The iPhone is amazing, but the iPad's going to be incredible as well.
And given all those hundreds of thousands of apps, and obviously, Sam, with an app like yours, you've got a lot of time, a lot of money into the app. What's the secret? Go ahead. Tell the other 140,000 developers. What's the secret of getting the word out about your app? Or do you think this is still something where the jury's still out on how to do it?
Well, it's a fascinating experience as far as publicity goes. I mean, you can go from PR firm to word of mouth to trying to advertise on Appalicious.com. Well, I spoke with the CEO of that company yesterday. They actually just bought appv.com. But the thing is I built MindSmack from 12 years ago. And the thing with MindSmack is, in the last 6 years, I really haven't advertised MindSmack because it's been just word of mouth. I think if you build something that's good enough or unique enough or fun enough in such a way that the publicity will come pretty much itself. And, you can learn from, the 1 to 4,000 or 1 to 5,000 users that you get based on the initial coolness factor. When you first get approved, you get into a lot of feeds and stuff like that. But for longevity and to see what can happen as we grow, since we are in our infancy, it's all about, continually improving customer service. We instituted an entire community to Fastmall, so users can now review anything. They can review products that they bought. They can also do video reviews now. Speaking of being on video, we can do video reviews, so we actually will take over the user's camera on their iPhone, and then they can submit a video review of anything in the app. So that's a new feature to try to get a community involved, and that's a big factor, I think, because everybody, as we progress, not everybody, but tons and tons of people are getting iPhones. I spoke to 10 people today at a meeting that I was at for the Inc. Business Council about a lot of different things that we were doing, and a lot of people were saying that people that they know would buy an iPhone just to use an app like Fastmall. It's very helpful. It becomes a tool that you can't. It's not that you can't live without it. I mean, look, we live without any of this stuff, right? But it's just something that as you get this kind of technology, it's something that becomes fascinating from a teenager to grandma. And, that's part of the excitement that this kind of hits everybody, all the different genres. You can shake your iPhone and find the nearest bathroom and be taken to it. That's pretty hilarious. We get amazing amounts of feedback that, hey, I shook my phone and found the restroom and then was taken to it, and then so did my son, and then so did my grandmother. It's hilarious, and it's helpful for that type of, setup, and it's a lot of fun.
And I've used that feature at King of Prussia. I think you've been there before. It's a massive, massive mall, and that's very helpful.
Yeah, we're going to hopefully meet up with King of Prussia in the coming weeks and discuss how we can work with them to get coupon codes and other stuff directly sent to users in real time. And that's the next wave of how to monetize Fastmall.
I think two forms of advertising I think that in the App Store have worked best that are just word of mouth, like Sam was saying. I think people trust their friends, they trust their family a lot more than the iTunes reviews, and I know how we've seen a lot of them are just absolutely ridiculous. And people will trust their friends and family's recommendations far more than anything they read. And also just people being featured by Apple, you see that, if you're in the top 25 lists, or if you're on the What's New, the staff picks, or, the featured app of the week, you stay up there for a really long time. The lists don't change very often. Every once in a while you'll see a couple new apps break in, but, for the most part it's the same, the same fart apps or the same the same crossword puzzles or any games. Yeah.
Yeah, and hopefully they fix that in time where we can showcase and be on a different type of list so that it does become cyclical. Because you don't want to keep seeing the same things. There's 140,000 apps. Let's see some new ones in there and see. But there's so much overwhelming amount of part of the 140,000 apps is very difficult to maintain the quality level. So. And then that's just the tip of the iceberg of what's coming. So, it's all part of what's coming and seeing and doing and learning. And it's all part of the process. But I agree with being featured by Apple is a huge factor.
Jonathan, you're pretty much at the beginning, I think it's fair to say, of your development career with the iPhone. 2-3 years from now, is this a platform that now that you've played with it a little bit, does it interest you? Do you want to put some more games on the iPhone?
Yeah, or just apps in general, I think. I did a little Cocoa Mac programming before I dived into the iPhone, and it just amazed as I delved further and further into the iPhone platform. I just realized how similar it was to, the desktop, and how it basically is, just as feature rich in a sense as a full blown desktop laptop computer that we're using, and especially with the iPad now that during the demo, you could see, the popovers and all these other different, new but still easy to use gestures that are so natural for the device that, it's almost become like Mac OS 10 without all the, the 20 years of cruft that's, built up over, as computers have grown and evolved.
Now, with this whole idea of 140,000 plus apps, I think the two of you will have an interesting perspective on this. One idea that I've heard floated around would be the concept of somehow having tiers in the App Store, that maybe you have a premium developer tier and then you have everyone else making apps tier, something like that. Sam, I'll ask you first. Do you think that is a viable option? Do you think that would upset the developers too much? Do you think that might actually make it easier for consumers?
Well, the thing with me is that it's tough when you say premiere because then the little guy doesn't get through.
Right.
So if it's a quality app, then I think a quality app is what should count most. I don't care if it's a one-man show or a team of 50. At the end of the day, Apple is Apple, and they should be able to make that determination internally. But, when and how is up to, them. And at the end of the day, everything that Apple does is up to them, right? So it's more along the lines of, would I want to be in a premiere or anything that showcases Fastball and gets it out to the public? Sure. But at the end of the day, I don't think that MindSmack, because, we're a multi-million-dollar company, should have the ability over, anybody, in any way. If the app is good enough to be there, it should be there.
Yeah, I also think that in general, the iTunes, the iTunes search feature it's nothing like a Google search, or, it's hard to find things if you have to type pretty specifically to exactly what you want. Otherwise, a lot of just random stuff comes up, even when you try to search music or TV shows. So I think either Apple needs to improve that, but also other little things in the App Store, like, when someone reviews, you have no way to contact them as a developer, if they're having problems with the app, and a lot of times people won't seek to find your support email. I also feel like the tiers thing doesn't work, or there's already kind of a tiering system, just the way that Apple will feature developers like Electronic Arts at their keynote, and they're already getting a lot of publicity from that, and they also get to go to Apple's headquarters a couple of weeks in advance and play with the hardware, and I still haven't touched an iPad or anything like that. Not that I would expect to, but some of the other big companies already have a leg up over a lot of developers.
It's interesting you mentioned EA, because I know there are some small developers who now have taken their games to EA to act as a publisher. And on the face of things, it doesn't really seem like you should need a publisher to, have a digital game distributed digitally. But just what you're saying, the fact that EA and those huge names can get a little bit better access. Sam, go ahead, John.
And they also get away with charging for more for an app. They can sell Madden for like $9.99, whereas an indie developer can probably only get away with a 99-cent app.
If it's not free, no one's happy. Seems to be.
Yeah, that was one of the things. I mean, we can make Fastmall, $50, because it is a navigation app. At the end of the day, you're actually getting from A to B. You've got TomTom that was $99 or whatever. I had an idea. Let's make it $1,000 and actually not sell any, but let's get some publicity. There's all kinds of things that you can do to be creative.
Jonathan Chang with PopPopPop. Thank you so much for joining me on episode 2 of Behind the Apps.
Thanks for having me.
Good to have you. Sam Feuer, founder of MindSmack, the creators of Fastmall, and now out in Fastmall 2.0. A lot of cool features. Check it out if you already have it. It's a free upgrade if you have 1.0, correct? Well, it's a free upgrade. It's a free
regardless. If you're on the moon, it's free.
There you don't have any malls on the moon yet, though.
Well, if there was one, we'd build it.
Sounds good. You can check it out at fastmall.com. Very good. Thank you, guys.
Excellent. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.